Prayer is one of those things we know we should do. But by Friday morning, many of us are still trying to remember what this week's Sabbath School lesson was actually saying. So, here is the deal. 15 minutes from now, you will have the 4 prayer lives, Lesson 7 walks through, the memory verse in your head, and you will be ready for Sabbath School class. Lesson 7 is called Practical Prayer. The memory verse is Psalm 62, verse 8. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us. The whole week is built around 4 lives: Elijah, Hannah, Jesus, and Daniel, and each one shows a different door back into prayer when prayer has been hard. Let's walk it. Hold the memory verse in your head. Pour out your heart before Him. That phrase carries the whole lesson. The Sabbath afternoon reading sets up the architecture. It opens with the vine and the branches from John 15. Jesus says, "I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, for apart from me, you can do nothing." That is the picture the lesson wants you holding all week. Prayer is not the event we schedule on top of our day. Prayer is the connection that runs underneath the day. The branch does not strain to stay connected to the vine. It simply stays. The sap moves whether the branch is paying attention or not. And when the connection is healthy, fruit happens not because the branch worked harder, but because life from the vine kept flowing through it. That is the picture for prayer the whole lesson is built on. So before we walk the 4 lives, hold this. Practical prayer is not technique. It is staying connected. The 4 lives the lesson hands us each show a different door back into that connection when it has been hard. None of these 4 lives prayed perfectly. All of them came back to prayer through a different door. And one of those doors probably has your name on it this week. Sunday's reading walks Elijah. 1 Kings, chapter 18 and 19. Elijah has just had the biggest spiritual victory of his life on Mount Carmel, fire from heaven, the false prophets defeated. And then, on Mount Horeb, 24 hours later, he is collapsed under a juniper tree, asking God to let him die. He is exhausted. He is afraid. He has run for his life. And here is what God does. God does not lecture him. God does not give him 3 Bible verses. God sends an angel with bread and a jar of water. Twice. The angel touches him and says, "Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you. Bread first. Sleep first. Water first." Then God speaks. And when God finally speaks, He is not in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire. He is in the still small voice. That is door number 1. When prayer feels impossible because we are exhausted, the answer is sometimes not more praying. It is bread, sleep, and waiting for the still small voice. Door of rest. Monday's reading walks Hannah. 1 Samuel chapter 1. Hannah has prayed for a child year after year, and the prayer has not been answered. Her husband's other wife, Peninnah, has children and uses them to mock Hannah at every meal. The annual trip to Shiloh has become an annual ache. Same prayer. Same template. Same empty arms going home. And on this particular trip, Hannah goes into the tabernacle, and she prays silently. Her lips are moving, but no sound is coming out. The high priest Eli sees her and assumes she is drunk. He scolds her in front of everyone. Hannah explains she is not drunk, she is pouring out her soul before the Lord. There is the memory verse again. Pour out. Same Hebrew word the lesson is built on. Eli realizes his mistake and blesses her. And here is the moment most readers fly past. The text says, her countenance was no longer sad. Hannah leaves the tabernacle changed before the answer has arrived. She went in with an ache. She came out with peace. The answer came later. Samuel was born and went on to anoint kings. But the peace came first. That is door number 2. When prayer feels like nothing is changing, sometimes what changes first is us. Door of persistence. Tuesday's reading walks Jesus. Matthew chapter 6. Before Jesus gives the Lord's Prayer, he tells his disciples what not to do. Do not be like the hypocrites, who pray standing on street corners to be seen. Do not heap up empty phrases like the Gentiles, thinking they will be heard for their many words. He is rejecting 2 things specifically: the prayer that performs for an audience and the prayer that piles up words, hoping volume substitutes for relationship. Then he gives them this: Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. 8 short phrases. That is the whole thing. The Lord's Prayer is not impressive. It is simple. It is short. It can be said out loud in 20 seconds. And notice what each phrase does. Our Father, the relationship is named first. Hallowed be your name. God's character is honored before any request. Your kingdom come, God's purposes before our preferences. Give us today our daily bread, daily, not yearly, daily. Forgive us, as we forgive, the only conditional clause in the prayer. Deliver us from evil, the request for protection. Every phrase is a door. That is door number 3. When prayer feels too complicated, simplify it. 1 phrase of the Lord's Prayer at a time is enough to begin. Door of simplicity. Wednesday's reading walks Daniel. Daniel, chapter 9. Daniel has been reading the prophet Jeremiah, and he realizes the 70-year exile is almost over. So he prays. And his prayer follows a clear, 4-part shape. He opens with praise. O Lord, the great and awesome God, who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him. Then he confesses for himself, for his people, for the nation. We have sinned and done wrong and acted wickedly. Then he makes his request. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, pay attention and act. And then he thanks God for hearing. Praise. Confession. Requests. Thanks. The acronym some teachers use is PCRT. 4 parts. That is the whole shape. You do not have to master it today. You do not have to do all 4 every time. But when prayer feels formless and you do not know where to start, Daniel hands you a structure that works. That is door number 4. When prayer feels like wandering, follow Daniel's 4 parts. Door of structure. Thursday's reading is the quietest one in the week. It is about how to actually listen when we pray. Most of us have not been bad at praying. We have been bad at listening. The lesson hands us 8 counsels for prayers that have felt unanswered. We are not going to walk all 8 in this recap, but here are the 3 that hit hardest. 1. Sometimes the answer is no, and no is also an answer. 2. Sometimes the answer is wait, and the waiting is the formation. 3. Sometimes the answer is yes, but in a form we did not expect. The full 8 are in the Thursday reading, and we walk them slowly in our complete Lesson 7 study. Link in the description. The point of Thursday is simple. Unanswered prayer is not always God's silence. Sometimes it is God's answer in a shape we did not learn to recognize. Friday's reading is the mission story. A Maasai boy in Kenya named Rompas needed 7,000 shillings to stay in school. His family did not have it. The school was about to send him home. So Rompas prayed for the specific amount. 7,000 shillings. Not, help me with school. Not, bless my education. A specific number for a specific need. And in the next few days the money came in small gifts from people who had no idea what he had prayed for. The total came to exactly what he had asked. Rompas stayed in school. The whole story takes one page in the lesson, but it carries Friday's whole point. Practical prayer is small. It is named. It is for things you can actually count. The Lord's Prayer itself says, "Give us this day our daily bread," not weekly, not yearly, daily. Specific. Named. Today, most of our prayers stay vague because vague prayers are safer. We do not have to face a clear no. We do not have to celebrate a clear yes. We just float. Rompas's story is the lesson asking us to risk a specific prayer this week. One named thing. See what happens. Now bring the week home. The 4 lives gave us 4 doors back into prayer when prayer has been hard. Door 1. Rest. Elijah teaches us that sometimes prayer waits for bread, sleep, and the still small voice. Door 2. Persistence. Hannah teaches us that the change can come before the answer arrives. Door 3. Simplicity. Jesus teaches us that the Lord's Prayer is short on purpose. Door 4. Structure. Daniel teaches us the 4-part shape: praise, confession, requests, thanks. We do not need all 4 doors this week. We need the one with our name on it. Which one is it? Are we tired and the prayer is empty because we have not slept? Are we waiting and the answer feels late? Are we overthinking the words? Are we wandering and need a structure to follow? Pick the door. Walk through it. That is the practical answer lesson